Oh my goodness, welcome back. I am doing a beginner's guide to Malice. I feel like this video is kind of long overdue on the channel because I love my Malice deck. This video is less about a specific deck list and combos and more about just you want to learn how to play Malice. I'm going to walk you through the Malice cards and what each of them does and just kind of talk you through a very entry-level beginner's guide to Malice. So if you want to play Malice in the Big 26, after the Blazing Dominion ban took away our white rabbit, and after the last ban took away our white binder, then this is the video for you. Welcome to the Malice world. May she reign forever. Let's get into it. Why would you want to play Malice? Why is Malice so good in, 2026? It's because it's a deck that utilizes summoning from banishment, meaning it can play very powerful cards. It is also all dark monsters, which also allows it to play very powerful hand traps. So you can play Di-Fi in Malice, you can play Dimensional Shifter in Malice, you can play all of the Dominus cards in Malice. It has a very powerful non-engine, which has kept it alive and well through all of the bans that it has been through. So again, while I'm not going to be talking about the other cards outside of the Malice cards, just keep in mind that the Malice engine is one very small piece to what makes Malice such a great deck, in my humble, personal, and correct opinion. So yeah, let's go ahead and go over first our 4 main Malice monsters that you will be running in your deck. So when we are looking at all of our Malice monsters, just our main deck monsters, they all have a continuous lingering, I'm probably saying the word wrong for what it is, but basically it's an effect that if a Malice Link monster points to one of them, something happens. So with Dormouse, Malice Link monsters that point to Dormouse cannot be destroyed by card effects. This is important to know what each of them does because as you're setting up an end board, you want to try to have your Malice Link monsters pointing to something that's going to be useful. So Dormouse says they can't be destroyed by card effect. All of them are hard once per turn cards. Malice Dormouse is limited to 1 currently in the TCG. So during your main phase, you can activate this effect. So you normal summon Dormouse. It does not have a way to special summon itself. You can activate this effect. Banish 1 Malice monster from your deck. Also for the rest of the turn, Malice monsters you control gain 600 attack. All of the main deck Malice monsters also have this last line. You can pay 300 LP and special summon. Hair is worded a little bit differently. We'll get to that. So for Dormouse, you can pay 300 life points once she has gone to banishment. And so 300 life points is cost, and then you get to special summon her back. So this allows you to do a lot of resummoning of your monsters from banishment and get more monsters out on the field in order to link climb. I will also tell you this is a link climbing deck because once you do this, you cannot special summon from the extra deck except for link monsters. So Dormouse is considered your best starter. You have 1 of her and you can normal summon her, and then the ignition effect is to banish 1 Malice monster from your deck. And because all of the Malice monsters have the effect that when they are banished, they can summon back, except Hair adds back to hand. It's perfect way to start your combo. Our next put to 1 in the TCG is White Rabbit. Notice it has the same thing. If a link monster is pointing to it, you'll take no damage. So Dormouse, if a link monster is pointing to it, the link monsters can't be targeted, can be destroyed by card effects. White Rabbit, you take no damage from battles involving Malice Link monsters. When you normal or special summon White Rabbit, she's the only one that has an on-summon effect. White Rabbit's on-summon effect says that you can set a Malice trap from deck. Another really good thing about Malice, we're going to go over the traps, is all of the traps can be activated the turn you set them by banishing a Malice monster, which makes it very powerful. So you can set a Malice trap from deck with this different name than any cards that are in your graveyard. And again, notice it has the exact same thing. If this card is banished, pay 300 life points, special summon it. So that is the thing that all of them have in common is paying 300, special summon it. Next, we have Chasey Cat. You play 3 Chasey Cats. She has not been hit yet in the TCG. I'm not even sure if she's been hit in the OCG. So again, has the same thing. That's the thing about learning archetypes in Yu-Gi-Oh, by the way, is all the archetypes will function the same way, where they all have very similar things. So all of the main deck Malice monsters have any Malice Link monster that points to this card, insert something that can or can't be done, and they all have the pay 300. So this one says any monster destroyed by battle with a Malice Link monster is banished. Chessy Cat has the ignition effect to banish one Malice card from hand, and then you can draw 2, which is great. It's a draw 2. So if you have a Malice card, notice it doesn't say monster, banish one Malice card from your hand and you draw 2. And once again, if this card is banished, you can pay 300 life points and you get to special summon it. So far, Dormouse, White Rabbit, and Chasey Cat all have the pay 300 to special summon it. And our last one is March Hare. Your opponent cannot target Malice Link monsters that point to this card with card effects. So again, it has that beginning part of your opponent cannot target Malice Link monsters with card effects. So this is the no targeting. This one has the ability to special summon itself from your hand as a quick effect. So during the main phase, if this card is in your hand, you can banish one other Malice card from hand or graveyard, and then you can special summon. So Dormouse has to normal summon, White Rabbit has to normal summon, Chessy Cat has to normal summon. Hare can special summon from hand. But keep in mind, though, that Dormouse, White Rabbit, and Chessy can all summon themselves back from banish, so that's the kind of equalizer. Hare also has the pay 300 life points if it's banished, but instead of special summoning herself, she lets you target a banished Malice monster and add it to your hand. Normally, as you're playing Malice, you target Hare and add it back to hand because that quick effect to summon herself can be used on your opponent's turn, and because you can banish monsters from your graveyard, Malice monsters from your graveyard, when your Malice monsters are banished, you can pay a certain amount of life points and summon them back. So this is a great interruption to have on your opponent's turn, but you can target and add back any of your banished Malice monsters to your hand. So you can target the main monster Malice cards. You can also target extra deck Malice monster cards. And so yeah, these are the 4 main deck Malice monsters. We have Dormouse, which is going to ignition effect, allow you to banish a Malice monster from deck, has the pay 300 life points to summon itself back. White Rabbit has an on summon effect that's going to allow you to set a Malice trap from deck, has the pay 300, summon itself back from banishment. Chessy Cat has the ignition effect to banish a Malice card from your hand to draw 2, has the pay 300 and summon itself back from banishment effect. And March Hare has the quick effect to special summon itself by banishing a Malice monster from hand or grave, and it has the pay 300 to add a Malice monster back to hand. So those are the main deck monsters. Now we're going to go over spell and traps. So there are 5. There's, 2 spells, 3 traps that are part of the Malice deck. The first one is GWC. You normally will not see this in deck lists, but it does exist for the Malice package. And it says you can activate all of the traps. Say you can activate the card the turn it was set by banishing one face-up Malice monster you control. That's what makes the trap so powerful. It's also a way that you can dodge things. So if you set this trap before you normal summon Dormouse, and then someone tries to imperm your Dormouse, you can activate the trap, banish the Dormouse. The Dormouse is going to get to come back from banishment by paying 300 LP. So this is why this Malice can be a difficult deck to stop. It has a lot of gas for having a pretty small engine piece of just Malice cards. And then again, it can play really powerful non-engine. So they all have that effect that you can banish a face-up Malice monster that you control in order to activate it the turn it was set. Remember, White Rabbit is going to let you set any of these from your deck to your field. So this has the ability to special summon one of your Malice monsters that is banished or in your graveyard. They also have all the trap cards also have this effect too, if you control a Malice Link monster. So if you control a Malice Link monster, you then get to do something else. So GWC is mainly a reborn from banish or grave. Then if you control a Malice Link monster, you gain life points equal to the original attack of the special summoned monster. Next, we have MTP. This is, I think, probably the most powerful trap that Malice has, because this one is going to allow you to add one Malice monster from deck to your hand. Now remember, when you have Malice monsters in your hand, you can get them banished with things like Chessy Cat, right? So you have a way to banish them from your hand in order to get them summoned onto your field. So you can activate this card the turn it was set by banishing one face-up Malice monster you control. All the traps have that. And then this allows you to add a Malice monster from deck to hand. Then if you control a Link monster, you can banish one card on the field. So this is a great interruption, having this set for your opponent's turn with the Malice Link monster. on your field will allow you to add. Remember, you can add March Hare, and March Hare is a quick effect, so you can summon on your opponent's turn. And then if you have a link monster, MTP is going to let you non-target banish. Last, we have TB11. Notice the first line is, again, you can activate this if you banish a Malice monster you control. Special summon one Malice monster from your deck, or if your opponent controls 3 or more cards, you can special summon one Malice Link monster. Now, keep in mind that if you special summon a Malice Link monster from your extra deck, it has not been properly summoned, so you will not be able to use the Reborn from Banishment effect that the Link monsters also have. For the rest of this turn, the summon monster cannot attack, and neither player can activate its effects. So this does not have a then line. Instead of the then line, it has the ability to special summon a Link monster if your opponent, a Malice Link monster if your opponent controls 3 or more cards. So you can special summon a Malice monster from deck. Now, it can't activate its effects, so you might not think that that's very good. But remember, we have ways to, if that Malice, let's say we use TB11 to summon a Chessy Cat. Well, I can't activate the Chessy Cat effect, but if I send this Chessy Cat to grave as link material, and then let's say I have a March Hare to banish that Chessy Cat from grave, and then Chessy Cat pay 300 to, summon itself from banishment, it is now considered a new copy, and this copy can activate its effects. So that's how we work around the cannot use its effects. So those are the 3 traps. They can all be activated by banishing a face-up Malice monster that you control the turn that they are set. Then we have 2 spells. We have our field spell, Malice and Underground. This is limited to 2. When this card is activated, so this is an interesting field spell in that it is one of those that on activation, you are doing the effect. So it is admittedly very, very vulnerable to Ghost Spell, because if this card is Ghost Spelled, then it also gets destroyed. Luckily, you have ways, like if this is in your graveyard, that helps you with things like Hare, or just having Malice cards in hand, field, grave tend to help you keep pushing through things. But when this card is activated, you can banish one Malice card from your hand, deck, or graveyard again. Remember, all of them have that resummon from banishment. So if you banish from any of those places, then you are able to get that monster back. Notice that this is when it is activated. So that is when you are, again, placing it. So you would need to place another one on a separate turn if you want to do this again. Well, 3 or more of your Malice traps with different names. So if you have a GWC, an MTP, and a TB11 in your grave, your Malice Link monsters gain 3,000 attack. I do think post Blazing Dominion, it may be something to consider to run a GWC. Again, if you look up a lot of deck lists, they don't have GWC, but running all 3 and then using all 3 has the perk of gaining 3,000 attack. While you control a Malice Link monster, your opponent's monsters can only target Malice Link monsters for attacks. So that is really important. That is something you want to remember if you have the field spell and you pass and your opponent goes to battle phase. If you have a Link monster out, they have to target the Link monster for attacks first. Last spell is Malice in the Mirror. This one says target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Banish one Malice monster from your hand or face-up field, and if you do, negate that monster's effects until the end of this turn. So this is a great interruption. Again, it does not banish for cost. That would make it a lot better, but it is a monster negate. It also has a really cool effect where even if you don't, I often find myself using Malice in the Mirror more for the second effect of if this card is banished. How do you get this card banished? By using things like Chessy Cat, which allows you to banish a Malice card from your hand. So if you banish Malice in the Mirror, you can target one Malice card in your graveyard, banish it, and if you do, add one Malice card of the same type from deck to hand. So let's say I, Chessy Cat, banish Malice in the Mirror in order to draw 2. Malice in the Mirror on a new chain will then trigger to target either, I could target a Malice monster in my grave and banish it, and then add a Malice monster from deck to hand. I could target a Malice spell and banish it, and then add a Malice spell from deck to hand, or a Malice trap from deck to hand. So these are your main deck Malice items. We have 4 monsters. Dormouse is currently limited to 1. White Rabbit limited to 1. Chessy, you can have 3. March Hare, you can have 3. We have 3 traps, GWC, MTP, TB11, and then 2 spells, Underground and Mirror. So the last piece of our Malice puzzle is our Link monsters. Now they did create 3. One of them has since been banned. So White Binder is currently banned. So I am only going to review the 2 Malice Link monsters that are legal, but they're really, really, really good. So let me show you the Malice Link monsters. All of the Malice Link monsters have the same type of effect as the main deck monsters, that when they are banished, you can pay a certain amount of life points in order to summon them from banishment. So the main deck monsters, you pay 300. The extra deck monsters, the Link monsters, you pay 900 in order to resummon them from banishment. So we have Red Ransom, which takes 2 monsters, including a Malice monster. She is a Link 3. While this card points to a monster, the original attack and defense of all effect monsters your opponent controls are switched. So this is a good card to end on, because normally attack tends, defense and attack, it tends to benefit you if they're switched. Some monsters have a much higher defense, so then if it's their attack and they're attacking into your board, and if you have Underground on board, they have to target your Malice monsters for an attack, so that's beneficial. You can only use each of the following effects of Red Ransom once per turn. If this card is special summoned, you can add 1 Malice spell from your deck to your hand. So you search either Underground or Malice in the Mirror. And again, if this card is banished, pay 900 life points, special summon it, and this is what makes this card so good as part of the special summon. So if the special summon from banishment goes through, then you can banish 1 Cyberse monster from your deck. And if you banish any of the Cyberse main deck Malice monsters and they haven't been reborn, the reborn is a hard once per turn. If they haven't been reborn from banishment yet, summoned from banishment yet, that will trigger them to summon from banishment, or trigger March Hare to add a Malice monster back to hand from banishment. Next, we have Heart's Cryptor. This is part of our OTK, 1 turn kill. This is how you can win with Malice on, if you go second and you can clear the board. Very important piece of the puzzle. So she takes 3 monsters, including a Malice monster, also a Link 3, so it does take more material. Malice Heart's Cryptor has the quick effect, meaning as soon as you summon her, you can activate this quick effect. You can target one of your banished Malice cards. Doesn't have to be a monster. It could be that Malice in the Mirror that you banished earlier. Shuffle it into the deck. So this is also a great way to get resources back. And if you do, banish 1 card on the field, non-targeting banish, with the, in parentheses, while this card points to a monster, this effect and its activation cannot be negated. So she cannot be negated if she is pointing to a monster, any monster. And notice that she does have a link arrow pointing to the opponent's field, and she has 2 link arrows going down. So as long as she's pointing to a monster, you can't negate this quick effect for a non-target banish and to get a Malice card out of your banishment back into your deck. And again, like Red Ransom, if this card is banished, you can pay 900 life points, special summon it, and double its attack. The double its attack is I don't want to call it a permanent stat boost, because there are ways if she is negated, then her attack is going to go back down to the 2,500. But the double its attack, like let's say you summon her back from banishment on your turn and pass, she's a 5k monster on the next turn. Like that, it's not just for the rest of the turn. That is a stat boost that will carry over through turns. I do want to point out that the Dormouse 600 is just for the rest of the turn. But so if you do Dormouse that turn and you get Cryptor out, she's actually at 5,600. Also, this quick effect to target one of your banished Malice cards and non-target banish a card in the field, you can banish herself. So as I'm saying, if you are in battle phase, let's say you did do Dormouse, you can attack with Cryptor for 3,100, and then during battle phase, you can quick effect, target one of your banished Malice cards. You can banish the Cryptor. That triggers the Cryptor. You summon her back, and now she's at 5,600, and you can attack again. So with just this 1 monster, you can do 8k, because it's at 25 plus 6 is 31, and then 56. Even if you don't have, did not do Dormouse that turn, and you are able to banish her to attack again by herself, 5,000 plus 25, you get 7,500 damage with 1 monster. Super, super good. Super, super fun. The artwork is also super, super beautiful. I love all of the Malice cards, and they have beautiful printings. White Rabbit got a Rarity 5 stamp, which is gorgeous. So this is the Malice engine as it stands. We have Dormouse, White Rabbit, JC Kit, March Hare. We have GWC, MTP, TB11, Underground, Malice in the Mirror, Cryptor, and Ransom. I do want to do a couple shout outs to like honorary Malice cards. Basically, if you are playing Malice, they are cards that you will include, monster cards that you will include. Backup Adagnister is an honorary Malice card. It is considered, I think, part of the Malice engine. Even though she's not a Malice card, she's also a Dark Cybers. And she has, if you control a Cybers monster that was special summoned from the extra deck, you can activate her to special summon from hand. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add one Dark Cybers monster from your deck to your hand and then discard one card. So she is a great extender. You are able to special summon her from hand, and she allows you to add any of the Malice names because they are all Dark Cybers. Another honorary Malice card is Wizard Adagnister. Again, if you control a Cybers that was special summoned from extra deck, and pretty much all deck lists you find are going to be predominantly Cybers. There's a couple non-Cybers, but for the most part, they're going to be all Cybers. You can target one Dark Cybers monster in your graveyard and special summon both this card in your hand and that monster in defense position. So this is great for link climbing because you get 2 materials for the price of 1 summoning. This does lock you into Cybers monsters. Again, that doesn't tend to be an issue. There are things like Haggard Lizardos, that is a staple in Malice decks that is not a Cybers. But there's ways you work around this. You tend to not do Wizard in the combo until after you've already done your non-Cybers items. You can banish this card from field or graveyard, target one monster your opponent controls, change its battle position. That's another cool little thing that you can do. So yeah, again, these are our honorary Malice engine cards. Neither of these are limited, so you tend to run 3 of these, and then you'll run 1 wizard. He's not the best to draw, so you want to run 1 of him. Intro to Malice. Basically, that is the Malice engine. All of our main deck monsters have the ability to pay 300 and summon themselves back from banishment. All of our link monsters have the ability to pay 900 and summon themselves back from banishment. Our traps can be activated the turn that they were set by banishing a Malice monster. We have a field spell that also allows us to banish and forces our opponent to target our link monsters for attack. And we also have a Malice in the Mirror monster negate, which is amazing. So yes, it has been hit by the ban list. I never got to play Malice at full power, though I've heard amazing stories. I will share my current post-Blazing Dominion deck list and go more into kind of how to play Malice, like combo lines. I have a couple combo lines already up on the channel, but this is really just like if you're interested in playing Malice and you're like, what does the deck even do? The deck functions off of banishing and resummoning and link climbing into a big beat stick that can by herself OTK. It's pretty cool. Gets a lot of hate, but you know, when you're gonna, you want to play the pretty cards, the pretty banishment girl cards, then you know, you just gotta accept the hate. I love the deck. Again, I never played against it full power, so I don't fully understand the hate. Plus, I think I get a little like, I need to probably talk to my therapist about why. When I see people be like, oh, you're playing Malice, like the smile that comes on my face being like, oh man, I actually thrive off of people thinking my deck is toxic. That's a conversation for my therapist though, not for you guys. Anyway, I hope this was helpful, and I hope more people pick up Malice in the Big 26. I think it's an amazing deck. I love it. It's a deck that really, really made me fall in love with Yu-Gi-Oh! And I felt successful on. Yeah, Alphonse, do you want to say bye? Come here. Do you want to say bye? Come here. Yeah, come say bye. Oh, don't hit your head, though. Come here. Alphonse says bye. Alphonse is also a Malice player. He's really good. Alphonse won the World Championship Puppy Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament in 1945 on Malice. He doesn't brag about it too much because he's humble.